Hey guys, this is lesson 5.5. It's Miss Samru. Today we're going to talk about exploring functions using the graphing calculator. So as many of you may know that we have been using this TI Inspire. It has so many features that you're not even aware of. Today we're going to go over some basic graphing features. So our aim for today's lesson is I can graph functions using a calculator. So graphing calculators are essential. We use the table app and we use the graphing app. So the first thing we're going to look at is exercise 1. Consider a linear function. Remember, a linear function is something that's in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So our linear function is f of x is equal to half x plus 2. Do the following using your graphing calculator. So in order for us to do this, we need to get our calculators. So that means, guys, you have to get up if you haven't done so already and get your calculators. I'll wait a few seconds for you to get up and get your calculators. Now turning the calculator on, it will be on the home screen. You need to go to graph because we're going to be doing a graph. Now the first thing you want to do is go to document and hit the letter B. That means it clears everything, and you should be seeing this screen that I'm looking at right now. Go back to home and then go back to graph. So our function was half. Remember how to enter a fraction. Control, division, 1, go down, and I'm going to enter 2, come out. Well, x. So that was half x plus 2. So I want to do half x plus 2 and hit enter. You should see a line that looks like this. This line is what we're going to sketch over on this graph right here. So before we sketch that, we need to answer the following question. It says find f of negative 6, f of 0, and f of 8. So this is saying, what is the value when x is negative 6? What's the value when it's at 0 and it's at 8? Now back to the calculator, we can do this on the calculator. To get the table, you go to menu, go to choice 7, and then go to split screen table. So again, how did I get this? It is menu, choice 7, and then you go to split screen table. Now, if you're not sure, you can write this down. So the first one I asked for was negative 6. So I'm going to use my up arrow and go all the way up. And when x is negative 6, it's actually negative 1. So that becomes my first answer here. And I'll change the color. So this becomes negative 1. I want to find what's 0. Go now, use a down arrow. When x is 0, you can see right here, y is positive 2. And then the last one says f is 8. Go all the way down, and we see that, one more, when it's 8, y is 6. Now, using this table, we can find a value of x for which f of x is 11. So again, I'm going to look at this calculator table, and I know that the f of x, whatever x is, I don't know, but I know that the output, my y value, is going to be 11. So if you notice, as I go up, it keeps going up. Notice here, it's 11. If I go to the left, I see that my x is 18. So this is saying that when x is 18, the y is 11. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have you pause the video and fill this out for me. I need this graph completely filled out. So go ahead, pause the video, use your calculator, go use your table up and down, and fill that out for me. Chance to do this on your own. You should have a table that looks like this. F of negative 6, when x is negative 6, y is negative 1. And to write that as a coordinate pair, it would be negative 6 comma negative 1. You should have this done from negative 6 to positive 6. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to graph this. how do we make a graph of this? So this is pretty simple. Remember graphing. I'm going to go -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6 is -1. So that's my first point. At -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. -2, 1, 0, 2. I am at 2, 3, which is right here. 4, 4, it's right here. And then it's at 6, it's at 5. So what I want to do actually, I want to draw a line, and here I'm going to just make sure that there are arrows at the end. So I want to draw the line that goes through this point, which will look something like that. Now it says graph the function g of x. Graph the function g of x is equal to 5 minus x on the same axis, and find where the 2 points intersect. So first of all, I'm going to go back to my calculator, and I want to get rid of this table. I don't want to see that anymore. So I go to menu. I want to go to table, remove table. This is all I see. So I want to enter a separate function, which is my g of x function. G of x, is equal to 5 minus x. Now when I go on the calculator, you hit tab. Then you enter 5 minus x. Enter. Bam. Notice that it's a red. Let me just move that. It's a red line there. And I want to know, what is that point of intersection? So this is what you're going to sketch on your graph. To find a point of intersection, I go to menu. Then I want to go to analyze graph, and I want to choose choice 4, which says intersection. Click on that. Notice at the bottom here, it says lower bound. I want to go, anything that say lower bound, it means you go to the left. I see this is the point right here where it intersects. I want to go to the left, and I click on there. Go scroll over to the right of it, and then it tells you your intersection is at 2, 3. So if you're not sure how to do that, go back to your graph and look at it. Pause the video, rewind. And then the last part of this video this question says, show that this point is a solution. So remember, this is your x, this is your y. I'm going to substitute those values. So this becomes 3, is it really equal, that's our question mark, to half of 2 plus 1. Half of 2 plus 2, sorry. This is 3 is equal to half of 2 is 1 plus 2. This becomes 3 is equal to 3. That's correct. But we have to make sure it works for this other equation. So my y is 3. Is it really equal to 5 minus my x, in this case is 2? 3 is equal to 3. Check. So I know that yes, this is a solution to both of those. So don't forget, you need to sum a point. It will be right here, and you're going to graph this. Of course, you're going to do a better job than me. Something of that sort. All right, pause the video, rewind, make sure you know how to do this. Now, I am at my calculator. I want to clear all of this because I don't want this to stay here. I go to Document and go to the letter B. That clears everything, and you're on a screen like this, and then you can go to the home. Moving on to the next exercise. It says, the calculator can do heavily lifting with calculation. While we examine the results, always be careful when entering algebraic expression on your calculator. Let's take a look at a quadratic equation using a graphing calculator. So now we're going to be entering this quadratic equation right here. Consider this function over an interval of -1 to +4. Do the following using the table on your graph. Create a table for the values over the specific interval. So let's enter this. It's x minus 1 squared minus 4. To my calculator, I'm going to go graph, and I want to enter x minus 1 squared minus 4. And notice this right here looks identical to what it's being asked. Y, another way of saying y is the same thing as saying f of x. So when I enter that, I just hit enter. Now this question is specifically asking me from -1 to a +4. How do you change that? We can change that on the calculator. So I'm going to go to menu, I'm going to go to window, and I want to go to window settings. It's telling me the x has to start at -1 and move your arrow down, and then I want the maximum to be a +4. Hit enter. This is what your graph should look like. So you're going to have a graph that looks like this. Okay, it's at -1, and then it's all the way down. You'll make it, let's say this is -1. It's going to come something like that. Okay, you're going to have a better sketch of this. Now let's make a table. So this is my x, this is my y, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Back to my graphing calculator, I go to menu, table, split screen. So I want to start at -1. So at -1 it's 0. So I'm just going to fill in these blank. -1 it's at 0. At 0 it's -3, then -4. This becomes -3, -4, -3. And then let's move down to 3, 0, and 5. What are the function's minimum and maximum value on these intervals? And do this question, I can actually tweak my graph up a little here because I have the points. It's a -1, 0, 0, -3. Then we have -4, 3, 0, 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that looks a lot better, which is what you should have on your paper, something that looks like this. Now on this integral, it says what's the min and what's the max. So the min and the max. The minimum for your y value on these intervals, your y, the lowest y value I have here is -4, and then the biggest y value is +5, which is just looking for my highest number and my lowest number. On which interval is the function negative? So a function is negative when it's below the which axis? The x-axis. So everything that would be below this axis on this point. So what interval? It's starting at -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. When x is bigger than 3, that's when it starts going up. It's above. So an integral here would be from -1 less than 3. Okay, so it's, or you can write it as -1 through comma 3. It's saying between those values, x is going to be negative because when something is negative, it means it's below the x-axis. For your graph, state the interval for which the function is increasing. Now think about that. A function is increasing when? When is the function increasing? Increasing is when it's going up. So look at your graph here. You can see from 1, which is right at this point right here, your graph keeps going up. So it's increasing when it's a +1 to 4. Or you can write it as 1 to 4 with the brackets. Now the last part of this question say, how can this graph help to solve x minus 1 squared minus 4 is equal to -3? So I want to find this. Remember what I said earlier when we were looking at the previous question. It says, what value of x makes it 11? So I know the output here. on this question, I know it has to be a -3. So where is -3? 1, 2, -3 is right here. So if you look at this right here, this is -3. What value, how can I solve this? What value do I need to plug in for x so I get -3? If you look, this is -3 right where I circle, and it has 2 points when it's -3. So what can I do? So the 2 points that I'm going to, let me just take off some of these, mark right here. Here we go. So the 2 points that I want to look at are these points right here. 1, 2, because when y is -3, remember this is saying this whole thing, which is y, has to be -3. So there are 2 points. I look for the point and then I look for where they intersect the graphs. So at they intersect these graphs, I go up and find the x value. So I know one is going to be when x is 0 and the other when x is 2. Now the last question, and this is how you see those multiple choice. Which of the following is a point where y is equal to 3 of x plus 7 and y is equal to -5 plus 6 intersect? So again, you don't even have to do anything. Go to your calculator, clear all of this. Document B. Go to the home. I want a graph. My first one is 3 of x. 3 over 2x plus 7. So let's enter that. 3 over 2. 3 over 2 x plus 7, enter, and my other one is -5x minus 6. Remember, hit tab to get that thing where you enter the calculator, -5x minus 6, enter. Notice there's an intersection point, but I want to know exactly what point that is. Go to menu, analyze graph, intersection. Okay, go to the lower bound, which is to the left, hit enter, go to the upper bound, which is to the right, hit enter, and you see the point that's blinking, so it's at -2,4, which is choice 3. And that's it. So guys, remember there are a lot of features that this calculator can do for you. So pause this video, look at it again, and then come see us when you're ready for Math 3. See ya!